Now, the travel brand Tumi, back in 2020, they released a fragrance called Awaken. I believe I did a video on that fragrance, Awaken, Unwind. They had so many really wonderful fragrances. I even did a video recently on Kinetic, which I will publish maybe in a week or two. But here we have a flanker of Awaken. This is called Awaken Distilled. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this new-ish fragrance, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I give you my thoughts on Awaken Distilled by Tumi, all of the links are going to be down below, by the way, if you're looking forward to sampling or purchasing this fragrance. They're not affiliate links. I'm not making any money off this video. This is not a sponsored video in any way. I'm just trying to make it easier for you to locate this fragrance should you be interested in sampling it. But I do want to start the video off first by saying that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it, hit the bell, and give this video a thumbs up. Awaken Distilled. So here we have a very bright, zesty, citrusy fragrance. It opens up with grapefruit and orange and bergamot and is just so lively in the opening. It has a lot of aromatic components. There's black lavender, there's clary sage, a little bit of earthiness, there's cypress, there's fir needles. In the dry down, it gets quite woodsy. And you get the impression that it's going to be a little bit sweet because there's amberwood. Amberwood has a tendency of being a little bit on the sweet side, but you also have olibanum, otherwise known as frankincense. You have cedarwood, you have patchouli. The patchouli, of course, continues that earthiness from the heart with the cypress and the fir needles. In any case, here we have a really interesting, fresh, mass-appealing compliment getter type of a fragrance. I kind of said the same thing about Kinetic in my video. I'm looking forward to giving you my thoughts on the smell of this fragrance. Let's start things off with a quick look at the presentation first. So the opening of this fragrance is super bright and fresh and zesty, and I actually just reviewed a series of fragrances that didn't have that. So it's refreshing in a way to go back to something very bright and zesty, and I love citrus, especially right around this time of the year. I mean, I'm publishing this video in August. I think I'm recording it in July. I think I'm gonna publish it in August, and this is the time of the year when I love my citrus fragrances. The aromatic components, the lavender, the clary sage, of course, it kind of goes in the wheelhouse of a lot of fragrances being released nowadays, but it smells clean, it smells elegant, it smells professional, it smells well groomed. You smell like a professional gentleman when you're wearing this fragrance. And it's not just the aromatic components, it's that in combination with the citrus. The bergamot, the orange, the grapefruit, it's zesty, it's tart, it's uplifting. The aromatic components are very smooth, very elegant, and I love that about this fragrance. Now, here's the thing. There have been some fragrances like Polo Cologne by Ralph Lauren. There's also been Coach Green by, Coach. There's a lot of fragrances that have kind of gone in that modern, gentlemanly, aromatic oak moss direction. This fragrance doesn't do that, right? Initially, with the original Awaken, I was kind of reminded of Yves Saint Laurent's Y. And that fragrance has a little bit of sweetness, green apple, little zesty, little tart, tonka bean underneath it all. This has the amberwood, so there's no tonka bean, but it does have those green elements, the patchouli, the cypress, the fir. And what I like is that it's a modern green vibe. And I think that's a lot of times kind of hard to establish. A lot of times if there's an overdose of fir or vetiver or oak moss or whatever, you're reminded of fragrances that came out in the 70s and 80s, and that's not what's happening here. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, because I love wearing Paco Rabanne Pour Homme and I love wearing Versace L'Homme, but that's a different story. Here we have a fragrance that is earthy, it's green, it's fresh, it's youthful, it's modern, it's contemporary, it's sexy, it's a huge compliment getter. And I actually wore this along with 3 other fragrances, not at the same time, not simultaneously, but I wore them consecutively, one after the other. And the moment I put this one on, my wife said, okay, now that's a good one. That was her response to this. She goes, now that's a good one. And so that tells me, and I think it should tell you, that this is a mass appealing, compliment getting type of a fragrance. I'm really enjoying this one. This is such an easy reach. This is a no-brainer. This is a Swiss Army knife. Please try this if you can. And that freshness is still lingering. It's really, really impressive. Never enters aquatic territory, never enters ozonic territory either. Just has that really smooth, aromatic citrus vibe. It's a wonderful fragrance. Awaken Distilled. Please try this one if you have the opportunity. I know there's a Tumi in my local mall, so I always have the pleasure of trying new fragrances when they come out. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. Now, first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, I like the fact that this doesn't go in a Bleu de Chanel or a Dior Sauvage direction or anything like that. Seems like a lot of designer brands are either going in that direction, or they're going in like an Invictus direction or an Azzaro Wanted by Night direction or something like that. But here we have a fragrance that is actually marching to the beat of its own drum. It's a more aromatic, more citrusy version of something like an Yves Saint Laurent Y, I would say. But again, totally different. I'm just trying to give you a frame of reference so that you can make that internal comparison, so that when you smell it, you're not entirely surprised, but it is a unique and original fragrance. So please try it for yourself. Me describing it is really doing no justice to it. Try it for yourself, and I really hope you love it, especially enjoy it as much as I do. Longevity, you're going to get a solid 7 hours on your skin, 8 hours on a good day. Projection was fantastic for the first hour of application. It radiated just a little bit beyond an arm's length. All of that citrus, of course, is contributing to that. Elbows length scent right around hour 5, skin scent right around hour 7 or 8. In terms of the versatility, it's a little bit masculine leaning just because of some of the other fragrances that came to mind when I smelled this one. Great for any time of the year, but I could see it really shining well in the hotter weather, both casual and formal. I can see this one appealing to somebody who's a little bit younger. I think somebody who's a little bit older, they might want something darker, more resinous, more rich. Even the Olibanum that's in here, I think I remember reading Olibanum in the note breakdown, doesn't smell incensey to me. So this one just has that fresh aromatic component, and I think the versatility of this one is actually quite high. For me, I'm going to be wearing it a lot in the hotter weather. Huge compliment factor, as I mentioned before. The presentation is really nice, especially with the locking mechanism on the cap here. Great for traveling, and of course that's kind of the ethos or the zeitgeist, the milieu of the brand. My final verdict on this fragrance is, if you're looking for a compliment getter, clean, fresh, office-friendly, professional, highly versatile, Tumi Awaken Distilled, I prefer it over the original Awaken. That's my opinion on it. Guys and gals, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope my review was helpful in some way. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it, hit the bell, and give this video a thumbs up. Do you have any favorite Tumi fragrances? Is it Kinetic? Is it Continuum? Is it the original Awaken? Is it one of the other Tumi fragrances that I didn't mention? Drop your comment down below. Always love hearing from you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Love you all. We'll see you tomorrow with a new video. Bye.